It's freezing outside, your power just went out, what do you do? This is a terrifying situation, especially if you weren't prepared for it. And for me, it's even worse because I have tons of cold-blooded reptiles who don't generate their own body heat. And this is what I do to keep it warm when that happens. I'm gonna show you 3 ways you can do this. A super cheap, easy way, almost free way of doing it, and then a second one that costs you about like $80 to $100, and then a third one that's expensive, but it can keep your entire house warm, not only your reptiles, including you as well. And the other methods will keep you warm as well, but the more you go up in price, the better it's gonna be, obviously. So let's get into the first method, shall we? So the first method that's the cheapest and the easiest is just get 3 bricks like so. You can get a candle, any type of candle will work, and put it right in the middle of the bricks like this. Now, the candle is on like a candle holder. It's not a candle holder, it's just the bottom of a clay pot. You could use a candle holder if you want to, whatever you want. At this point, you could light the candle, and then you put a small clay pot right over the candle. After this, you could get some tin foil, just a little bit, and you're gonna fold it up into a little square that fits on the top of the hole of the clay pot. You don't have to tape it down, it just needs to sit on top of the hole. Then you get a medium clay pot and put that over the small clay pot. Now, if your candle goes out, that means it's not getting enough air, and what you could do is you could stack the bricks on the side like this. Then once it's done, you have a small oven. Now, this isn't gonna heat up an entire room, but it will make the air temperature a lot warmer than having nothing. And after 30 minutes, be careful, do not touch it, because as you can tell, it's already at 160 degrees. This is a small little oven. It's not, like I said, it's not gonna do a big job, but for a small job, it will bring the air temperature up if you're in a very dangerous freezing situation for your animals. Now we can go talk about our second method. The second method, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of King of the Hill, and it is propane and propane accessories. This is a Mr. Heater. I think it's called Mr. Heater Buddy. Little buddy right here, and this is a propane heater. You get this for like $60 to $90 depending. I'll have it linked on Amazon down in the description or the comments. You get this at Walmart, you can get this at Home Depot, at Lowe's. They sell it everywhere. It doesn't require any power at all. That's right, you just plug this right up into it. Now I said plug, but it's a propane bottle. You just get these little propane bottles like this right here, and if you have it on high, say if you're in, this will heat one room really good on low, right? If you have it on high, it'll burn through the fuel faster. You'll go through one of these in like 2.5 hours if you have it on high. If you have it on low, it can last up to 6 hours. I've never got a 6 hours off. I got like 5 hours off of it, but some people say, hey, 6 hours is what it goes with. I usually get about 5 running on low, sometimes like 5.5. Never a solid 6, but some people do. So if you have 2 of these bottles, think about this. If it's on low, you'll get 10 hours, so you're gonna need like 6 bottles for an entire day. Take that into consideration. If you have it on high, you're gonna need a lot more because you're gonna be burning fuel, right? But this is a really good thing to have, say if you have just a reptile room, or your reptiles are in your room and you're freezing, it's like 15 degrees outside, you need some heat, some way, somehow, bam, this thing is amazing. And if your house is insulated, you probably just turn this on for like an hour and your room's gonna be totally warm for a couple hours, turn it back on, and that's good. In my room, not insulated, I have to keep this thing running on low the entire time. Old house, not energy efficient, that's what sucks, but if you live in a pretty well insulated newer house, it works wonders. But when do you use all this stuff, right? Say your power goes out. When do you use the heat to get the heat in the room or wherever you're at to good temperatures, right? Is it like 68 Fahrenheit immediately when the power goes out? No. What I would say, a lot of people freak out. They're like, oh man, the power went out. It's 65 degrees in my room. He's gonna die. No, your reptile's gonna be perfectly fine. They're actually very much used to this. Just think about it. In the wild, during winter time, what do you think the reptiles do when it's like 15 Fahrenheit outside? They have little burrows. They're very much used to this. It's winter time. It's a natural occurring thing to them, so they hibernate. However, the way they hibernate is they dig deep burrows underground or find some sort of way, live inside of tree trunks that stay pretty decent temperatures all year round because it's so thick. And they do this and it's very much used to them. But in our rooms, they're exposed. They don't really have that sort of thing that they can do inside our rooms. They're inside of a tank. The tank's gonna get really cold because it's just out in the open, in the air, and the air is very cold. They can't dig underground, obviously. So that's why we need to get the heat up. But even though they're in a tank in our room, I say at 50 degrees Fahrenheit, that's when you need to start turning the heat up to get it to just good temperatures. You don't want it to freeze too much. Now for the final and the absolute best way to heat your house if your power goes out, if your gas goes out or anything like that, is a giant propane heater like this one right here. This propane heater will heat an entire home by itself for up to 2 days, depending on which type of propane tank you get For instance, Walmart sells the blue Rhino propane tanks for like $65, $50, depending on where you live. That will last 2 days if you have this thing on medium, and it will heat a 1,500 square foot house. How do I know? That's because that's what I use to heat my house when my power goes out, and I have this old-fashioned propane heater that's still going to this day. The propane heaters you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's or any place like that, but you do have to buy the tank at Walmart or something like that. Then you can exchange the tank in for like 20 bucks for like an empty tank for a new tank, and it costs like $20 to do that. But you also have to buy the connection from the propane tank to the propane heater, which is like another 50 bucks. So that's why it's going to cost like $300 to $400 to do this. But I highly recommend this if you have the money, because it is absolutely fantastic to heat your home during the winter if your power goes out. If you want to talk more about reptiles, join the Discord below. If you need any help, you want something a little bit more deep dive, you can join the Patreon. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.